Ani, as I said, Ani in the Kartuli Asomtavruli alphabet occupies the first place. However, in our alphabet, we also have the letter Bull, which is pronounced as Khari. And it occupies the 34th place. In other words, again, Ani in the alphabet, according to the structure of the alphabet, again functions as the father, while Khari functions as the son because it follows the letter Ani. Now let us see what happens, or whether the same, and we have this, in other words, the Sumerian formula of the father and son is preserved on the basis, on the system of the Asomtavruli alphabet, which is very, very significant. Now let us see what happens in the Phoenician alphabet, whether the Phoenician alphabet has preserved the same system. Now, Aleph, which is the first letter in the Phoenician alphabet, and we said it is the bull, which means, according to the Phoenician alphabet, it is this, Sumerian religion, it is the sun. We also have the moon god in the Phoenician alphabet, although it is called Sin or Shin, and it means the tooth. Now, some of you might say, well, what about the tooth here? The thing is that Ramazpataridze, in his seminal work again, his Kartuli Asomtavruli, he discovered that the name of the letter, Sin or Shin, basically is basically related again to Oriental cultures, and in this case to the Sumerian and later on Akkadian culture. And it is the Akkadian religion where we find the name of the moon as Sin and Shin. Now, but the interesting thing is that Shin or Sin is the 21st letter in the alphabet. The 22nd letter in the alphabet is the cross, which is tau, and which means the completion of the alphabet. In other words, again, we have the confirmation of the Sumerian formula of the father, son, and the astronomical formula of the moon and the bull on the alphabetic level, both in the Kartvelian and the Phoenician. However, in Kartvelian, the logic of the father and son formula is preserved, but in the Semitic, the logic is reversed. So first comes the son, and then comes the father. This is an indirect indication of the fact that whatever we have said about the Ani, about Ani being the dominant element of the formula, is true again, because the Semitic alphabet itself tells us that I am a reverse pattern. You have to look for the correct pattern, and the correct pattern is given in Sumerian and Kartvelian. Now, then my next concern was to see whether the same formula could be confirmed on the astronomical level. And why on the astronomical level? Because Ramazpataridze again discovered that in the Kartuli Asomtavruli alphabet we have the lunar calendar, and the lunar calendar is made up of 3 groups. This is the first one. So in table, okay. So in table number 3, you see the 3 groups of 7 letters, which make up the 3 weeks of the lunar of the moon's movement. And the names of the characters tell you that yes, we belong to the moon god. We belong to Ani, because the syllables in the names all contain either the unsyllable or the slight modifications of the unsyllable in and n. But, in total, we have 21 characters. And I suppose you cannot miss the fact that 21 in Kartvelian Ani moon characters and 21 letters in the Phoenician alphabet do tell us a lot, because numerical significance is highly important, and at the same time, it cannot be considered coincidental. Now, if we have three groups of seven characters in Phoenician and in Kartvelian, and here they have you have them in table number 4. Then in that case, both of them are deficient. The alphabet, the groups of the lunar calendar expressed by the alphabetic characters is deficient. Why? Because the moon needs 4 weeks to complete its monthly rotation. And its monthly rotation consists, I suppose you all know, of 28 days, basically it's 27 and some hours, and of 30 days. The first one is called the sidereal month, and the second one is called the synodic month. So both alphabets, or rather none of the alphabets, can accomplish even the sidereal, which is 28-day lunar cycle. That means that they are deficient. However, Ramazan discovered the 4th group of the lunar calendar, and the 4th group of the lunar calendar is headed by the Kartuli Asomtavruli Ani. That is again the same bull letter in the Kartuli Asomtavruli alphabet. Here you have the 4 groups of 7 letters that express the sidereal month of the lunar calendar in the Asomtavruli alphabet. However, the Phoenician alphabet has no resources to complete the task, has no resources to accomplish the lunar cycle. It can do this only in case the Kartvelian 4th group, headed by the bull, is inserted, is added up to the Phoenician alphabet. In that case, we receive 21 plus 7, you get 28 letters, which is the sidereal month of, this is the sidereal lunar month, and plus 1 letter, which is the letter tau, which means the completion of the letter. This mathematical and astronomical harmony cannot be accidental. Even more, if we look at the Phoenician alphabet, we shall see that the harmony is accomplished because the Phoenician alphabet is started by the letter bull, and it is continued by the letter bull. And it is continued by the letter bull from the alphabet, which is not supposed to have any relationships with it. And it is in absolute mathematical, astronomical, alphabetic, and linguistic agreement with the Phoenician alphabet. In other words, the Semitic alphabet and in the Semitic alphabet Aleph and the Kartuli Asomtavruli Ani are connected not only through purely paleographic characteristics or principles, but they are also connected through even more important features, the features which are not immediately visible, but these are the features that need research and which need the resources from various fields of science. All right. Then my next concern was, if I have such wonderful harmony, mathematical, astronomical, linguistic, etc., how is this realized on the level of linguistics? Can my research withstand the linguistic analysis? And in this case, I was going to compare 2 words, 2 letters, rather, the names of 2 characters. These are the Phoenician Aleph and the Kartuli Asomtavruli Bull. And why Bull and not Ani in this case? Because it is these 2 letters that completed the alphabet. That completed the lunar month, excuse me. Or the Bull completed the Phoenician alphabet. Before I start with the linguistic analysis, I would like to say that Aleph, the letter of the Phoenician alphabet, which gave rise to the vowel letter of most of the alphabets that we use today, was not originally a vowel, and I suppose most of you know this. Now, it was a consonant, and it was a consonant, it was a glottal stop, which means it was like up. So it was pronounced like up. So if in Kartvelian we also have a glottalized stop, which is oh. Now, if we pronounce the word in the same, in its original way, so to say. Oh, I suppose I have it here on the transparency. Yes, just at the very top, okay, post speller. We shall have, okay, can't see it properly. So, we shall have Aleph, and Aleph. Okay, now, so in Kartvelian we have this letter. This particular form, Aleph, resembles strikingly another Kartvelian word, which is alibi. Alibi in Kartvelian means a mold, to mold something. Now, I suppose you will agree that P and B and A and E correspondence, according to traditional historical linguistics, should not be taken even into account. These are just very usual changes that occur from language to language, and even within one and the same language. Here I would like to anticipate one of the questions, which may concern the Arabic origin of Aleph, which is Aleph. It is not Arabic. I have very, very strong evidence that it is of Kartvelian origin. Therefore, I will proceed now with the Kartvelian origin of alibi, okay? And we can discuss its Arabic origin later on during the break. So, alibi means a mold. But we see that semantically, it is, according to their meanings, the word Aleph, which is the bull, and the Kartvelian alibi, which is the mold alibi, okay? E is a movable element. So mold, you know, are semantically non-identical. According to historical linguistics again, you should have the, in order to consider words to be cognate or to be related to each other, you have to have two similarities. One, it is on the phonetic level, and two, it is on the semantic level. In other words, when it comes to the phonetic level, Aleph and alibi are the same. We can say that they are cognate. However, when we come to their semantic meaning, they are incompatible. We can't say that they belong to the same semantics. Therefore, according to traditional linguistics, they do not correspond to each other, and period. And then the investigation of the two elements does not continue. However, in my research, I have introduced some other methods as well, which are not compatible with traditional linguistics. They are basically taken from esoteric teachings. This is the concealed teachings which came down to us from Sumerian and Egyptian closed priestly oligarchies. And according to these teachings, we have one to many correspondence. In other words, one word, for example, Aleph, whose etymology we are looking for, may have not only one archetype, but it may have several archetypes. In other words, is it the time for me? In other words, apart from alibi, we can also have the archetypes as we can also have other words as archetypes. However, before we go to that, we have to find out what happens to alibi and Aleph on the syntagmatic level. And the juxtaposition of the Semitic and the Kartvelian words in a syntagma tells a lot. What we get is bull plus mold. Now, this does seem strange. If we take, for example, if I give you such an example, if we take the word, for example, beautiful flower, the sum total of the meaning of beautiful flower, of the phrase itself, is the combination of beautiful plus flower. However, when we come to the combinations of Semitic and Kartvelian letter names, and it's not the only case, by the way, we see that the meaning, the total meaning of the phrase is not aimed at the traditionally accepted meaning, the beautiful flower type of meaning. This meaning, which is produced on the syntagmatic level, is of a much higher caliber because it denotes some historical truth. And now we have already mentioned that the Phoenician alphabet is called the mother alphabet. It through Aramaic and through Greek later on, it basically molded the alphabets of the future nations. Thus, the Kartvelian meaning of alibi and bull molded alphabet is not devoid of sense. Vice versa, it confirms the already known historical truth. But this is, again, I say, this is something bizarre for a traditional linguist. They will not accept it, I know. But there are some other aspects as well, and in this case, traditionally confirmed evidence that also speaks in favor of my proposition. As I said, we can't have one-to-many correspondence. And then I was trying to look for a particular sound which could correspond to, you know, phonetically and semantically to the Phoenician Aleph. And the Kartvelian glottal stop O forms its phonological pair with K, which is a post-vela voiceless consonant. And this is exactly the sound that the Kartvelian name of the bull starts. We say Khari, okay? So if I reconstruct or insert, instead of this particular letter in Aleph, the Kartvelian post-vela voiceless consonant, then I will receive the form Khaled, okay? And in Khaled, the correspondent, and in Kartvelian we have Khari. So we have Khari, and we have such a word, which is the plural form of the bulls. That is, the stem here, Khar, coincides with the stem here, Khal. Now the L and AR sounds, they are sonorous sounds, and they are very, very frequently interchangeable. And therefore, the correspondence fu and wu, as I have already mentioned here, should not be taken into account. In other words, we now have phonetic and semantic similarity. The only incongruity which kind of hampers the recognition of Khaled and Khared as identical words is the second element in Khared, because F in Kartvelian is the plural forming suffix. And if it is the plural forming suffix, Khaled in the Phoenician is a singular form. Apart from that, all the names of the Phoenician letters are given singular names. And there's no reason why the compiler of the Phoenician alphabet should have given the plural form of the name to the first letter of the alphabet. Therefore, here, the results become kind of shaky. So what's happening here? Why is it the plural form? And this made me look for another word. And again, I was encouraged by the esoteric methodology that there may be one-to-many correspondences. And here, the word which basically explained this incongruity between Khaled and Khared is the word Khareba. However, in the word Khareba, where the root is again Khar, and eb is the suffix which forms the verb, we have a kind of a different meaning. Not only that, we have a verb, which means that the group of the words of possible archetypes for the Phoenician Aleph is extending not only quantitatively, because we have a mole and we have a bull, and now we have the verb, that is, it extends qualitatively as well. But now some of you might question why H. The H and H sounds in Kartvelian are very, very close. And I suppose all the Georgians will agree with me. Not only that, even the word Khari changed in the course of time, and today we pronounce it as Khari and not Khari. That is, this similarity basically does not prevent us from recognizing or identifying the Khar and Khar roots as similar. Now, I'm not going to speak about Khareba in this case, to what kind of religious calendar, astronomical information it will take us. I'm not going to talk about this. But what I would like to emphasize is that what we are seeing here is the formation of a group of Kartvelian words which are possible archetypes, many archetypes. Again, this is bizarre for traditional linguistics, but we see the formation of a group of words that could all be possible archetypes of one and the same word. Not only that, but we have the foundation, so to say. The foundation for this super informational group, as I call it, is the phonetic identity. the basis is the sound form. This is the principle that unites all the words. However, these words have different semantics, and it is exactly these different semantics that give us the super information, the information above the lexical information that we are expected to have. I'm coming to the close. So, now, to cut a long story short, the super informational group, as I said, is unified on the phonetic level. And if such a group exists, in that case, I have to add up all those words as well, which are phonetically identical with the Khar form, or the root. And there are some others as well. For example, there is the verb form Khar, which is the singular form of the present form to be. You are, for example, Shen Ha. And there is also the reduplicated form of Khar, which means the silly laughter. Now you might say, now what does this have to do here? What you know, these diverse meanings and verbs, and not only that, yes, I forgot about one of the adjectives, it is Khalepo. And Khalepo means idiom, Sambas dictionary. So basically what we see is that the super informational group has got 6 different possible archetypes for the Phoenician Aleph. Now, in order to understand why, because it's not only stating the fact that such a thing exists, but we also have to see and look for the reasons why there is such a formation, such a phenomenon at all. In order to find out why, we have to analyze the semantics of each of the elements. The mold, and I have spoken about the mold, the bull, and the bull will take you to Sumer and to Egypt and wherever you wish. And then we have to tell joyful, Khariba means to tell joyful tidings, and will take you, it's a religious term as well, it will take you to religion, Christian religion, it will take you to astronomical knowledge, ancient Georgian astronomical knowledge, etc. Khalepo means, as I said, evil. It's very difficult to tell you now why it means evil. For this I need to go into Persian divinity names, and then you have this Khar, you are, it also has its significance, and then we have this Khar, which is silly laughter. But when you analyze all them, you get huge informational system, the system that the entire group was aimed at. Thank you very much for listening. The time is up. Okay, any questions?
We have no time.
Astronomical code, there are many more. So therefore,
We can discuss these questions
later on. Okay.